Alrighty, I'm going to make a quick video. It's not going to be a step-by-step, but just going to point out some of the things I think you need to know if you're going to be installing a Genright tank in your TJ. I got an 04 TJ here. I'm just going to do some quick pointers of things that I'm figuring out as I go. Alrighty, I've got the 19.5, I think they call it the crawler thing. I wasn't ready to outboard my shocks and my coils yet. That's going to be way on down in the build. I'm not ready there. So and this thing here, I'd already pushed it up in here once. I've got to make some adjustments so I can get it in here right, but this thing fits perfectly between the frame. So one of the things you're gonna have to do is your exhaust, and I'm gonna have to get up in there a little better. You can see my exhaust. I've got a catback Banks monster exhaust. You can see it there. You can see it right here, right there. And basically what I did is I just removed, if you can see that in the floor, I just removed the back piece and the tail pipe. I had smashed the original tailpipe that comes in with that exhaust, but I just removed that from back there. That's given me the room. You can see right here. One other thing, this is this access panel. I installed this last year. I had an issue with my, you can see my original tank over there. I had an issue with the pump or something, I don't remember, but I had to drop the tank, and when I did, I installed this. This is one of the handiest things I've installed in this Jeep. When I was out in Arizona and Moab last year, had a pump issue, the little nipple. Let's see here. Get over here. This little nipple, little aluminum nipple. I don't know if it's dark in here. You might not be able to see it. That little aluminum nipple on the pump had a crack in it, and it was just dripping fuel the whole time I was driving out to Arizona. From Arkansas to Arizona, then Utah, I was dripping the whole time, so I had to replace that. Having this access panel made it a breeze. I was able to do it in the parking lot in about 10 minutes, just easy peasy, no problem. All right, so if you're gonna be replacing your tank, buy the access panel, go through the trouble of installing it. It'll be well worth it. Also got this from Genright too. All right, so a couple of things that you're gonna need to know is, as I said before, you're gonna have to do something with your exhaust. This tank will not even slide up in here with that exhaust coming back here. It is going to be completely flush with both frame rails on that side, and this gives you room for 5 inches of stretch. So back here is not a problem. And then the other thing too is I ran into is just because this is so beefy. I don't know how thick that is. I don't know if it's 3/16 or whatever the gauge is, less than that. But it's solid. It's not moving. So this piece up here where the bolts are hanging down, and I'd replace those. I recommend you order those. When you order the tank, get online, order them, and replace them, because you're gonna need new of these. Now these are pretty short, and one of the problems I ran into is one of the reasons I'm replacing this tank over here is because the bottom, that skid plate is been thrashed. It is all banged up, beat up, and in the process it's also bent this bar here up a little bit. It was angled up. So the first time I tried to push this up in here, the bolts weren't long enough to go through these holes, because they are that's solid and this is flimsy. So I took a monkey wrench and just kind of put on it and bent them down. I'm going to try putting it back up in there again, and when I get to that point, I'll video again. Alrighty, one other recommendation is these. If you buy these new, or maybe your old ones still have it on there, they've got a little, I don't forget they call them, the little star washer. It kind of keeps that in place, because that's a square. See, you got one back here in the back, and then you got these 4 here. But they got a little star washer on it that keeps it from pushing back up there. These are, I forget what you call the bolts. They've got a square piece on them, and keeps them from spinning there as you attach it. But you need to push those little star washers up on there as far as they'll go to keep this from pushing up, to keep that from pushing up. So this in here is still a little loose, and I've pushed it about as far as I can. But you want those to not push up inside there as you're pressing the tank up there and trying to get the bolts on. All right, so the process I'm in now, originally I got all excited and I put all my hoses and connectors and all the evap stuff on here and tried to jack, because I need to jack it up in here. I need to get at least 2 of these probably screwed in, so I can figure out, because you got the, let's see here, all right, because you got this right here. All right, and you've got to drill a hole up here in the frame and put a not a crush bolt, but to keep it from crushing that frame. I forget what it's called. Anyway, that's got to go in there, so you got to drill a hole through and then another hole. So you got to figure out where to mark that. In order to get all this up in there, I mean, it is a tight fit. So the best thing to do is not attach anything. I'd cover all your holes and everything so that nothing falls in there. But you're gonna have to jack this up there. You have to jack it up here, mark your hole, take it back out, drill your hole, put that sleeve in, and then I'd recommend doing that again and making sure everything lines up, make sure you can get the bolts in, and then drop it back down again, and then put all your stuff on and get ready to push it up in there. All right, so that's the stage I'm at now. Alrighty, after some struggle, I was finally able to get these. I was able to get one attached here and then one here, tighten them up, and it pulled this one enough so I barely got the nut on there. I was able to tighten it up. Same thing here. I'd recommend you do that. Get them pretty good and tight so you pull that metal down, and then you're going to loosen them back up so you can pivot this and get this lined up where you need to. Because next thing is I got to mark this up here where to drill. Alrighty, you can see how this access panel, do this again. You can see how this access panel really helps with getting in here where you can see everything. Make sure you got clearance. So I'm getting enough light. Now I don't know if you can see out there, I'll get up under the Jeep, but it is all the way up against this this cross member here in the corners. But you got to make sure you got room for everything to get through. You got that one there. It's got to go through that hole there, all that stuff. All right, let me get under the Jeep. Alrighty. So as you can see, let's see here. This is pretty tight fit up in here. Now, I got lots of room back here now that I didn't used to have. And eventually I'm going to be doing stretch back. So here's where this, I don't know if that's going to focus, but that's where that's going to come through. It's going to line up right here. And you got to drill a hole through. It's one size hole. It's a smaller hole first all the way through, and then it's a bigger hole on this side, so that I gotta look at that and see what the name of that is. But anyway, here's where we're at. Looking a lot better. Alrighty, so I've got those marked and drilled. I've got the sleeve in there and tacked in there. What I found is they provide you a couple bolts. They're about that long. They're 3/8. And what I did is I put, because that sleeve is, you gotta be careful because that sleeve will fall down in there. So what I did is I put that bolt through the 3/8 hole on this side, and then I lined that sleeve up on that bolt so it would kind of hold it. And then I was able to tack that in place. I ground it smooth because I don't want it to, I just kind of put a bunch of tacks around it. I don't want it because that's a really tight fit. And same thing on this side, and I'm fixing to paint it. And then I'm getting ready to switch everything over on the tanks. All right. Alrighty, another little thing I noticed is I had to end up, you know, that little clip that's in there, I ended up having to pull it out because when you get this is like pushed all the way in. My hand's shaking, sorry. This is pushed all the way in. So and then that plug would just slide off of this. So what I've done, excuse my smashed thumbnail there. So what I've done is I pulled that back a little bit like that, so I'm able to push it all the way in to the connector. I don't know if I can do it with one hand. Anyway, I push that all the way in with the connector, and then I feed a zip tie, a zip tie down through there and around and clip it, and that holds it. Alrighty, so as you can see, I fed the zip tie down through there, and then when I tighten it, of course, it's gonna come across the back there. But that is enough that I've got that flat spot on that post past that. So this will be on this side of it. Alrighty, so now I've got everything switched over. These all have barbs on the end of them, and then they probably wouldn't come off, but I went ahead, it's cheap insurance, and just put that zip tie on there so it won't come over that barb, and it'd probably be all right. And here did another zip tie thing where it's holding that piece where it won't come out. That I'm pushing and pulling on that, it won't come out. And so anyway, we are ready to push her up under there, jack her up and bolt her in. We'll see if those holes line up. I hope they do. Now what I do is, because I'm usually doing this by myself, which would be a lot easier if you had somebody to help you, but I'm by myself. And what I do is, if you kind of see, I kind of do a seesaw action. I lift it up far enough to get the filler holes up to there, and then I lift it up a little bit more, and then you got those evap tubes you got to be real careful with so you don't break them. All right.